Hi, everybody, and welcome to Hello Maria. It's me, Maria, your host, and I'm so happy you're here listening to our newest episode. Hello Maria is a podcast created to talk about everything that life throws at you. Because remember, every friendship starts with a hello. Hi, guys, and welcome to Hello Maria. I'm so excited that we are able to just share this moment again. Today, we are going to be talking about what it means to lose a child. I never thought that I was going to be that person. I never thought that I was going to be that person talking about it. And I've had a hard childhood and a hard upbringing. So the fact that I had to go through all of this was really overwhelming. But I think I'm ready to talk about it. Um it's been a dream of mine since I have memory that I wanted to be a mom. Why? Because I just have that maternal instinct. And growing up, since the fact that my dad left, um, it was me and my sister's responsibility to take care of my younger brothers and sisters and taking care of them in the sense of like feeding them, changing them, bathing them, and it created a sense of like I can do this for my own too. I knew there was a time in my life in which I thought like, oh, I didn't want to get married because after seeing what the relationship with my mom and dad ended in, I was so scared to even have that in my life because I wanted to have a cheating husband, and if I didn't get married, I was not gonna have that. So the reality is that even though I was not looking into marriage, I was still looking into the idea of being a mom. Not because I wanted to have a partner back then, but because maybe I could do alternative options to just fulfill that need of me being a mom. So that brings us to today, 2023, in which I believe that from, well, almost 6 months that, well, not 6 months, I think it's less. I think it's around 5 to 6 months since I had a miscarriage. Um, I think I've grown. I think now I'm able to talk about it. I'm able to just see others people happiness and not get jealous. Because I remember when I just got, I, it just happened, and I don't know, like like social media and algorithms, it just works the worst. So the reality is I was pregnant for like a couple of weeks. Um, so the fact that I was talking about it and all that, the algorithm is just hearing you talk about it. So then it starts showing you options of baby pages on Instagram so you can buy baby stuff. And it shows you about prenatal vitamins. They show you about medical physicians, doctors. They show you hospitals. They show you delivery rooms. They show you people that have babies and how they dress their babies in cute, amazing costumes. So it was all over my feed. But when I had this miscarriage, there was a lot of shame and guilt because I couldn't understand it, and just me seeing on my feed like everybody else's happiness babies pictures. It just created me so much jealousy, and I envy that they were having the perfect life, the kids that they wanted, and I was just involved and just filled with this sorrow and depression. I, back in 2020, was discovered to have some type of mass in my uterus. So, this mass, at the beginning, it was just one when they discovered it, but my doctors decided not to treat nothing of the sort, but just give me contraceptives. Um, I've never been on contraceptive before that. And the fact that they gave me this, I started taking it clockwork every day, even though I was not having no type of relationships or intimacy with nobody. I was not dating nobody back then. So the fact that I was just taking this to control, let's say, the side effects of this mass in my uterus, it was great. So the pandemic happened, everything was just a lot of uncertainty. So I was not able to go to checkups um in all 2020. So I went back for my second checkup with a different doctor this time um on 2021. Initially, when they told me about this mass, they totally thought that it was a tumor, but it was a non-cancerous tumor. Um, so the fact that when I went to the doctor again, and they were able to review like the size, um, if there's more and anything, um, the doctor that saw me, she told me like, no, you don't have a tumor. That's clearly a fibroid. And you have one that's pretty big, and you have another one that's pretty small. And the first question that she asked me is that, do you have kids? And I was like, no, I don't. But by then I was 28 years old. And I was like, "O- okay. Okay, well, she asked me if I have kids. She was like, well, the thing is that now that you don't have kids, you should be thinking of planning on having kids, because this type of pathology of uterine fibroids keeps on growing, and you can keep, there's even more than can keep showing up." So I was like, wait a minute, is this infertility? And she was like, yeah, this can cause infertility because your uterus is not fit to carry a baby. But she recommended to have surgery and then decide to have a kid. I was so like shocked that I started crying, because I was like, well, I don't have a plan to have a baby. We're in the middle of pandemic. I don't know how I'm going to do that. And I remember that I was just having the worst nightmares, the worst anxiety, and I sunk in a phase of depression. It was all good. Um I had a great support system. Then I had an amazing friend that was able to be with me during the process of me assimilating that this was gonna be me, um and my journey with infertility and fibroids. So I am really grateful for that person that was with me during those times in which there was a lot of uncertainty. So after like that diagnosis, my doctor just diagnosed me like for more um contraceptive, because I don't know what's wrong with doctors these days, but they think that the answer of like, oh, you have an hormonal unbalance, so maybe you should take contraceptives, is gonna be the answer to my hormonal imbalance. It might help, but taking contraceptives for a long period of time is not good. And due to the fact that fibroids are not, um, they don't have any specific cause of what are they, um, your body starts producing them. Um, Anything can. So there's a lot of assumptions of like what can cause fibroids to grow and to reproduce. Um, from having uh like lots of stress, that can be a trigger. From having uh genetically or hereditary predisposed to fibroids. In my case, well, I believe it's hereditary, but my mom, I thought that what I was gonna have was PCOS because my mom had PCOS, but I didn't have PCOS. I had this, and my mom didn't develop like her first fibroids like up to like menopause, which is something of a common thing because your body is going through like a hormone change. So like it's more, let's say, common to develop fibroids in a menopause after childbearing age, but it's also possible to like get it like when you're late 20s, beginning in your 30s. So that was my case. But maybe it was predisposed. Who knows? Um, but the fact that I was having this huge lifestyle of like stress, work was not the best, and I was trying my best to just relax, it was not enough. Um, because when I went back to the doctor that same year, they discovered that I didn't have just two fibroids, but in the meantime, from my checkup on March to my checkup in September, I had developed three more fibroids. I was freaking out because the doctor I saw previously, because this other doctor I saw, because I was looking for a second opinion, and this doctor that I got, he mentioned that um that I should just n- get the surgery. So I needed a second opinion regarding the surgery. So when I saw this new doctor, he told me like, oh, you have three more fibroids, um but I do not recommend to have surgery because you're young, you haven't had kids. And I've seen women have kids with fibroids. So he said like, well, yes, there's an infertility situation, but I don't believe it's gonna be it's gonna enable you to have kids. So I was like, there was a 50-50 chance, and I thought like, okay, so we're good, right? And he was like, yeah, sure, we're good. So I was like, okay. He just told me like, just keep taking your contraceptives, and you're gonna be good. There's not gonna be no side effects. Um, the reality is that after like in 2022, I started developing more pain that was not even um it was not even treated by my contraceptive. because I was taking the contraceptive to avoid to have like the pain, the side effects. But it got to a point that I was it was not working. So I decided to go to the doctor back in June, because with me just recently got married and all of this, like I had to have a plan regarding my fertility. And what the doctor mentioned and recommended when he tested me, knowing that during that checkup I developed two more fibroids, he recommended to just not to stop my contraceptive, because he might have an idea that my contraceptive was also um kind of like enabling my body to create more of these fibroids. And he believed that it could be due to an estrogen peak, that my body was over producing estrogen, and that's why my fibroids were being just crazy. So usually, for you to guys to have an idea, usually fibroids should take some time, let's say a year to 2 years, to, let's say, grow. But in my case, my body was just creating more fibroids, and the existing ones were growing in size. And once this fibroid is big enough, that is hurtful and also harming your fertility and your ability to conceive, what doctors recommend is to remove it. So the doctor didn't said like I should, because he said like, well, I see that you're gonna have a high risk pregnancy, but I would just take a take a step back and just see if we are able to have another opinion from a specialist in infertility. So I look in my network for doctors dedicated to infertility and this, and I found two doctors. But I didn't went there until I was after I got married, because the reality is that I didn't want it to be like bumped out. I was gonna have like the happiest day of my life, so I didn't want it to be bumped out for literally my wedding. So I stopped my contraceptive, like I was recommended by my doctor. Look for my physician, specialized in infertility, and then I scheduled an appointment like right after my husband left. So when I set that appointment, because I set two appointments, I had an appointment with one physician, and then I had like 3 days later, I had an appointment with a different physician. So I was like, okay, we're gonna be good, we're gonna be great, it's gonna be perfect. So the reality is that when I went to the first physician that I had an appointment with, he tells me like once he does like the vaginal like ultrasound, he realized that I was pregnant. And when I was just laying down and he was like, yeah, you're pregnant, and this little thingy is your baby. It was too early to see something, but it was just a tiny bean. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. If I'm pregnant, w- we need a plan. So after I left there, I called my husband and I just showed him the picture. And he was shocked. And I was like, I know, right? I'm 2 weeks pregnant. Like, what? Like, what? um, so my doctor sent me like medication. He sent me vitamins and also like specific hormones that I need to take to protect my pregnancy. And he was really positive because he wanted to like make me feel a little bit calmed, because I told him like, yeah, I came for my fibroids and I'm a little bit nervous. Um, because what if like this can affect my baby? And he told me like, just chill, like it's gonna be okay. Um, I've treated women with fibroids and pregnancies, so the only thing we need to do is take care of this pregnancy as best as we can. So I was like, okay, at least I can breathe. Like it's possible. Like it's not gonna affect it. We're gonna be great. The thing is that the weeks progressed. I was the happiest. I was anxious. I was drinking lots of water, eating a lot. I had like crazy cravings. People say that cravings come like after like the first trimester. Oh my god, no. No, for me it was just different. I had this cravings like I've never been like into cold meat, but the reality is that that's the only thing I wanted to eat. Like I just wanted to snack um cheese and um especially stinky cheese and string cheese, and I just wanted to eat um uh um and I don't eat pork, but it's so weird. I wanted to like have serrano ham. I wanted to have like chorizo, like everything cold meat. I wanted to have like salmon, like if it was raw. I don't know why. Like I just wanted to have that, and it was like every day I had to have that as a snack. Um, in different hours of the day too. So the thing is that once the weeks progressed, I was so happy. I even told my best friend because I had so much anxiety until one day I just started having the weirdest feeling. I called my mom crying because I couldn't believe what was happening. I was in shock. I I was not sure what was happening. I was just bleeding, and I had really bad pain. It was like at 10 at night, and I texted my doctor. My doctor said like, okay, if you keep bleeding, like just go to the ER. The ER is gonna tell you like if you're good, blah blah blah. And if they tell you like you're good, just come to my clinic like the next day, and we are gonna see of what is next. So the thing is that I was good, um and I felt like, okay, this is painful. It might be common that first pregnancies you have like this type of bleeding. So I was like, okay, I have to stay calm. I called my mom. My mom was like, it's gonna be okay. So, but like what I was a little bit concerned of is that I was just bleeding, and I was having this huge like blood clots. And I was like, it can't be a miscarriage. Maybe it's something like related to early pregnancy symptoms. I went to ER. ER said like, no, you're good. You're good. Like there's nothing wrong. Like it's normal. So I was having this pain, but I still went to work the next day. But I was pale. I've been bleeding the whole entire night. And when I got to work, like it was just excruciating. I went to the bathroom like every 5 minutes because like the clots and all of that. And I told my doctor that I was gonna see him like at 10. But one of my friends, when he saw my face, he was like, Maria, like, you don't look good. What's wrong? And I told him, like, this. And he's told me, like, that's not normal. You have to go now. Like, it's not normal. So I went to talk to my boss. It was the most, let me see, like, one of the most uncomfortable conversations I've had in my life. Because the fact that my boss, he's a male, it was somewhat of embarrassing just to talk to him about what my system was going on. So he told me like, oh yeah, you can go. So I went, and when I went, I just got on the table, and the doctor said like, okay, let me just examine you. And when he said, oh no, I was I was shaking. My hands were trembling like so bad. And I was like, what's wrong? Um, Unfortunately, you're having a miscarriage. I, I was, I was, I was speechless. I didn't know, what to say or do. I was just freaking out and just trying to keep my cool, but it was impossible. I couldn't believe that that was happening, and it was happening since last night. And even though I went to the ER, they told me like it was nothing. Um, but the reality is that in that point, there was nothing we could have done to either save the child. Um, it was already gone. I I got um the doctor performed the procedure to remove like every tissue left from the pregnancy. And after that, I was in so much pain, so much pain. And then the doctor told me like, okay, so the next steps for this is like literally, you have to take this medication to chemically remove anything that's not there, if there's something left. And then he sent me like to get tested, not tested, but like get an ultrasound for to see like my fibroids and all of that from a radiologist. um and I did that. But before I left that, my doctor said like, okay, so unfortunately, this means that your uterus is not going to be able to host a baby safely, because your fibroids seem to be growing um, with the hormones that your pregnancy is producing. So we will have to do the surgery. I I never thought that for my 29 years in this world that was gonna be something that I was gonna do. I had so much dreams, and it might sound funny, but every time I dreamed of having kids, I dreamed of having a house full of kids. I wanted to have 7 kids, have a blast, teach them different things. I was so excited. I was so excited to like be a mom. That being ripped away from me, it was, I cannot even explain um the feeling. It was, I blame myself. I I thought something that I did was wrong, but it was already gone, and I need to understand that. I needed to just take a break on that one. Oh, I was getting way too emotional. Um, so when I get this ultrasound, they discover that I didn't had 7 fibroids, but I had 11. So in the meantime, I was pregnant. I developed four more fibroids, and then we proceed to schedule a surgery. The surgery was scheduled for like a month after I had my miscarriage, so that my body was able to heal. Um, I was freaking out because I couldn't believe that I had to go through this, and it was like major surgery, so things could go wrong. When I say things could go wrong, is in the sense that um, if there was a thing or there was human error, I could lose my whole entire uterus. Or if I didn't have like um if it was I was unable to eh, kind of like coagulate my blood, like form clots, um uh I could bleed out and they could not do nothing and I could die. So I was freaking out. If I'm honest, I was freaking out because I was like, I'm too young for this. Who said that this was possible? I really want kids, and luckily and thanks God, it all went great. The surgery went great. I They eliminated every fibroid, but there was a catch. So fibroids can grow back within 5 years. So my doctor's prognosis of me being fibroid free was 5 years. So in those 5 years, I should plan on having the kids that I wanted to have, and then knowing that it was the best to have a hysterectomy or any procedure to stop the usage of my uterus. So I was a little bit sad because with this surgery done, like I only can have kids via C-section, and you can only have for the most like 3 C-sections in your life because of the risk that it entails to have more. And besides that, that they removed when they opened me in the surgery, they realized that I had not just fibroids, but I also had um, endometriosis growing in parts of my reproductive system that they were not supposed to be growing. And they eliminate that, and they discover that it was not just 11, but there were 14 fibroids, and they were in different areas. So my uterus has different stitchings all over, and it's not just one main stitch, it's like different stitches. And I was shocked that that was that much. And the second of all, I was shocked that I underwent that because the pain of recovery, Jesus, it was really bad. Um, I was on high medication. I was in excruciating pain. To even go to the bathroom was such a painful task. to get up, to sit down, to pick things up off the floor. It was such an amazing type of pain. I was in shock that I didn't know that I was gonna hurt that much. So I had a nanny that was taking care of me and making my food and all that, and taking care of like my basic needs. So that was really good. Walking, going upstairs was like really bad. The recovery took at least to be like walking and doing normal things. At least it was like 3 to 4 months. Today I'm on month 5. Um, and the reality is that I have some pain every now and then, but my doctor told me like I'm gonna be good by March. So I'm excited because meaning that if I'm okay by March, well, he didn't say I was gonna be healed by March. He said that I could try to conceive in March, which meaning that my uterus could be prepared for having a child in March. So even though like it takes like a little bit while to like completely heal, because they recommended like a year. I was excited, but the fact that um well, the doctor told me when to do this. He also told me that there was safety measures that should be taken in order for me to have a safe pregnancy. So, and for me and for the baby. So besides that, like my baby was not gonna go to term, let's say the 40 weeks or 29. It's gonna be 37, 38ish weeks, because they couldn't allow my uterus to grow, because if it ruptures it was gonna be an issue. So um they're gonna do like uh pulmonary maturation injections for like the baby to mature his or her organs faster, so that when I get my scheduled C-section, the baby is going to be able to have his lungs well developed. As scary as it seems, I'm so scared of actually having kids in America, because I have such an amazing doctor here in Panama that going to America and just being in the hands of like the health system with doctors you don't know created me like a lot of anxiety. And the fact that my immigration process has not been approved or even seen, it's just sad that maybe I will have to, and if we want to not like keep thinking or waiting until on the immigration process to be done for us to have our family, maybe we should just uh try to do it here. The thing is with trying it here is that it usually takes some time for people to get pregnant. It doesn't usually happen at the first time. And with a person with my pathology and what I've gone through, we expect not to happen like right away. But and the fact that my husband can just come certain times in the year, it makes it a little bit difficult to like get it. So we're gonna try our best this March to see if it happens. If it doesn't happen, I'm gonna be a little bit disappointed, but if I think I'm gonna be okay, because I think I went through all of this, and it just make me feel like it's just gonna be okay. So go into like the happiest part of like, yeah, I went through all this hardship, and now I am feel like I'm more calmed, and I look at the future with brighter eyes. I would say that now I'm working towards achieving pregnancy. And how am I doing that? So recently, and well, not recently, but last year, I've been following this page of this device called Miro. M- Miro Fertility is a device that allows you to test every every other day to see how your body is working and how your hormones are working, and it is so precise that it tells you when is the right day to ensure pregnancy. um so I'm excited for that, to start testing, and I'm also going to start taking prenatals, because I'm going to take specific prenatals that are good for conception. So you should start taking your prenatals before you try to conceive, when you're pregnant, and after you're pregnant for recovery. So I'm going to start taking prenatal vitamins, and it's interesting because I'm excited to see where that it's actually gonna help in conceiving a child. But well, there's been such a long story about like how losing a child has been such a hardship, but it has a great outcoming, because I'm looking forward to having a child. Even though I think there's things that I'm afraid of, let's say like of having another miscarriage, is not that big of a fear than my happiness to have a child. So I'm so happy I was able to share this with you, because it's been as something I've been carrying, and the fact that I'm able to share it, it's just a fresh a fresher air. So yeah, I the only thing I can just say is never just take the first never take the first um opinion of a doctor as the truth. Find different doctors until you look and find for a doctor that suits your needs. That's my piece. That's my little piece of advice. Thank you for listening to our latest episode. If you want to know more about my journey in this world, please follow me on social media. I'm always happy to make new friends, so don't hesitate to say hello. Because remember, every friendship starts with a hello.